Hi, welcome to class. My name is Benin and I'm a British English teacher. Today I'd like to work together to build our vocabulary a little bit in English. It's very easy when we're talking in a second language, isn't it, to always repeat the same phrases again and again. So today I'd like to challenge you to step outside your comfort zone a little bit and spice things up, meaning make things a little bit more interesting. So today we're going to be looking at synonyms that you can use for thank you. So other ways to say thank you, basically, without always repeating thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to look at 4 different situations, and the vocabulary we will use will differ depending on the situation. So the first situation is if somebody gives you a compliment. Let's say I tell you, for example, oh, your English is really improving, it's sounding really good. Instead of just saying thank you, some words you can use when someone gives you a compliment are the following. The first one is, oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. Just like, thank you, that's such a nice thing to say. The second one is, what a lovely thing to say. What a lovely thing to say. And the third one could be something like, oh, that means a lot to me. That means a lot to me. So if I say, your English is sounding so good, you could say, oh, that means a lot to me. You're too kind, for example. So that's responding to a compliment. The second situation is if somebody gives us a gift. This is quite a specific situation. And instead of just saying thank you for the gift, you could say things like, oh, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have, which means like, oh, you shouldn't have gone and bought me a gift. That wasn't necessary. You shouldn't have. We could also say, oh, that's so thoughtful of you. That's so thoughtful of you. Like, it's such a nice idea, such a nice thing for you to think of me and buy this gift. And the final one, if somebody gives you a gift, is to say something like, oh, you know me too well. You know me too well, or you know me so well. It can be as well sometimes. Oh, you know me so well. For example, if somebody buys you exactly the book that you've been saying you want to read, you could say, oh, you know me so well. That's so thoughtful of you, for example. So what about now if somebody does something nice for us? Let's say, for example, you send me a piece of writing that you're a little bit nervous about to correct it. I send it back to you and you're really happy with the corrections. What could you say when somebody does like a nice thing for you? We would often use phrases like, oh, you're the best. You're the best. For example, thank you so much. You're the best. We might also say things like, oh, you're a star. You're a star. Thank you so much, you're a star. Okay, so these are the kind of things we could use. Another nice one, if somebody does something nice for you, is to say, oh, I really appreciate it. So if you liked my writing correction, you could say, oh, I really appreciate it, you're a star. And that makes me feel like you're really happy with me and it's a really genuine thank you. Okay, and the last situation is if somebody does us a really big favour. So something that they really didn't need to do, something that goes above and beyond the ordinary. For example, let's say I offer to take care of your kids for an evening so that you can go to an event that's really important to you. In these kind of situations, we could use phrases like, wow, I owe you one. I owe you one, which is like I owe you a favour type thing. We could also say, I don't know how to thank you, or I can't thank you enough. I don't know how to thank you, or I can't thank you enough. So these ones would be for these kind of situations where somebody does something really big. Okay, so now we've learned those expressions, let's have some practice together. I'm going to give you 4 little situations, and I'd like you to think about how you would say thank you. The first one is, I tell you that you've got absolutely lovely pronunciation when you're speaking English. How could you respond to this? Probably this would be the compliment kind of thing, right? Like, oh, you're too kind, or what a lovely thing to say, okay? The second situation is that I give you, for example, a film that you've been wanting to watch for ages for your birthday. How could you thank me in this situation? Probably here we would use the gift one, so we would say something like, oh, that's so thoughtful of you, you know me so well, you shouldn't have, for example. The next situation is, for example, you've told me that you really want to work on a specific grammar point, let's say conditionals, and I prepare a lesson for you and you're really happy with the result. How could you say thank you if I've done this kind of nice thing for you? We could say things like, oh, you're the best, you're a star, I really appreciate it. And the last situation is this one. You get in touch and you tell me that you've got a really important job interview and I schedule a last-minute class for you to help you prepare for the job interview. How could you say thank you? Here, it's probably more of a big favour type thing, or not as much as looking after your kids, but it's still quite a big favour. So you could say things like, oh, I owe you one, I can't thank you enough, I don't know how to thank you, this kind of thing. So that's all. Those are our phrases, a bit of synonyms we have today to say thank you. I hope they're helpful for you, and if you'd like to practice them in class with me, I will see you very soon. Thank you very much. Bye.